think just a lot of people with the ICC, they feel like it's not good enough qualification, and they worry that they need to do GCSE to get into sixth form or college. Do you agree with that?
Hi guys, it's Enriquez. It's been a while. Me being a big old 20-year-old now. Thanks.
I can't even hear you myself when I'm right behind you.
Hello! What?
Hi.
What do you have to say?
I don't know what to say.
Bailey being
So we're in the car with
Dirty.
Bailey. Rico's down, guys, if you remember him. And Malaya.
what he sounds like Rico's back, guys.
Rico's back.
And he was
Yeah.
like that. Hello, I am back for this one's birthday. For those of you who don't know me, because I haven't been around for a long time trying to get my degree, I am the eldest, the best one, the original, the first draft. And yes, and I have been summoned by the old mum to answer some questions and provide some questions as well. So yes, first question is probably
what are you doing at uni?
it will appear here somewhere.
What are you doing at uni?
I am a second year medical science student, which mum constantly mixes up with medicine.
Sorry.
So I have people that have asked me, when did you get into medicine? What university did you get into No, it's medical science. It's like the BTEC version. Yeah, I am a second year medical science student who just finished their toxicology exam. How did it go? We're not going to talk about that because we don't need to talk about my stresses. What's the next question before I start getting depressed?
Alright, so the next one is, what was your journey into medical science?
My journey into medical science was a stressful one. I did the general level of ICCE, went through all the paces, then through peer pressure I did the biology, chemistry and physics GCSEs. Managed to get into a level.
No, don't tell them what school.
C of E school. My time there was absolutely dreadful.
Was it really though?
Yes.
I think when you were in it.
Why is this such a pessimistic story?
It is a pessimistic story. Why would you tell me to share the story then, if you didn't want me to experience this to share my story?
But was it really pessimistic at the college, like the schools at that
I
time?
was part of a global pandemic during this.
Oh, is that in that sense? Is that?
And then people at the school were awful.
But before that, because remember that when your first day you had a really good experience.
No, I did not.
You said to me that you was walking around the school, like walking around, and they were like, "Thank you, sweet and sour, please." And they were like, "Oh, hi, you know, you haven't got your friends or something."
Yeah, because I'm a loner. That's what
Yeah,
happens
but they were
with
nice to you
consoles.
though, wasn't there?
A selective group of people. And they're not part of the demographic that...
Okay, sorry,
that-
carry on.
I interrupt my story. This is my life story. This is my autobiography that's going on right now. You guys are interjecting. I don't need external writers on my...
Okay, go on then. So what happened now? I'm interested in myself
Is it?
now.
Is
Yeah,
it?
I'm very
Is it
interested.
really? 'Cause
Me too, thank you.
I think, let me talk and let me do my story. That's what I think. Anyways, so why do you look so proud of that?
I'm interested in the story, that's why.
I went to Church of England school. It was absolutely dreadful. I hated the people. I hated some of the teachers. They irritated me. They were completely illogical, completely just brain dead and brainless. And yeah, I don't care that this is going on the internet.
This is great.
I don't care that this is going on the internet.
Great. That is so horrible to say to people.
Yep. Shout out to Mr. Appel. Loved him so much. He was amazing. Mr. Murphy as well. Miss Morrison, she was an angel. Definitely the best one there. She loved and took care of me like I was her child. It was amazing. Who do I not
No,
like?
don't discuss
That's
about
not
that.
the
That's the question.
question.
The crazy. See the A-levels.
That's
What's your journey?
It's a
again?
joke. It's a joke. All right, relax. So, I went through 2 horrible years of A-level where lots of tears were shed. The pandemic hit the day of my birthday. What else?
What did you do?
I lost out on many friendships because I realized that being homeschooled, I don't actually like people.
Okay, we'll do another video about socialisation, guys. But let's stay focused.
All part of a balanced
Stay
breakfast.
focused, so the next video we'll do socialisation.
All part of a balanced meal.
Okay, not that it matters, but the happy meals are there because we're on our way to Malaya's birthday party at my sister's house, and the kids wanted something very small before we went there.
I did chemistry A-level, which, as everyone knows, is absolutely terrible. And then I did biology, psychology, and then EPQ. And a lot of people, well, I started off with history, and I liked history, but it didn't work out that way. I left history in exchange for psychology, and I did my EPQ. And what surprises a lot of people about my EPQ is that I did not do it on anything science-based at all. I did it on anime because I'm a nerd, and the points was the only thing that mattered, so no one actually is going to read that. I had lots of fun then. Part of the pandemic, I got to talk to a lot of voice actors, pretty much all the time. They were some all really nice, including Chris Ayres, may he rest in peace as well. Yeah, year 12 was absolutely terrible. I wanted to cry, I wanted to give up, I wanted to do everything and anything but go into a classroom to learn. Year 12 was really hard. I struggled because I didn't have any prior knowledge of biology or chemistry or any type of sciences prior to this point, except for the 5 months that I studied in GCSE, which even then people are still surprised that I managed to even make it off those 5 months. And the only reason why I did is because I was doing about 100 pages of each subject via PACES and Seneca Learning, tutors, and just lots and lots and lots. I was studying through my holidays. I was studying, that was it, studying. And I really believe that that length of study is what fried my brain to the point where I cannot memorize or do anything anymore. So that's why I don't suggest doing that at all. I do not suggest doing that.
So what you're saying, you don't suggest doing the GCSE as well as the ICSE?
I don't suggest doing them out of studying that I did.
Yeah, that's because of the GCSEs.
Yeah.
That made it, took away all the time that we needed for the
Just prepare for things before you actually do it. I watched Doctor Strange in a movie theatre, and I went to Florida and saw this guy's really nice house, and he was a doctor. So I decided I wanted to be a doctor. Well, I decided I wanted to be a surgeon because I saw how cool Doctor Strange's life looked. And all of a sudden I decided I wanted to be a surgeon with like 5 months into my GCSEs. And that was what caused my entire academic life to go completely down. So
Aww. This is such a sad story.
very, very sad.
I did say. So then, after year 13 was done, and we had just come out of lockdown around that point, I remember. When it was all done, I was really happy. I was so excited to just get my results and go, because I really wasn't sure that I had good enough grades to apply to any universities. All of the universities that I picked, I was very ambitious. I don't know why I wasted my picks like that. I applied to places that I knew were way too above my level, my grades.
What did you apply to?
I applied to Reading, Buckinghamshire, and then I was told that it was conditional. And then logged into UCAS and they were like, oh, congratulations, you're enrolled in and I was like, but my offer is conditional. They're like, oh no, we changed it to unconditional.
Wow.
They didn't tell me why, they just did. And yeah, that was it. I ended up in a university full of crackheads.
I feel like there needs to be a nice bit of the story somewhere.
There is no nice bit in this story. That's why I question why you would want this story to be on the
Keep it there.
internet.
So do you think people, so just a lot of people with the ICC, they feel like it's not good enough qualification, and they worry that they need to do GCSE to get into sixth form or college. Do you agree with that?
Depends on the sixth form or college.
Do you?
Another question was, should you take the GCSEs with the ICCs? No, you should not do that. Why? Because it's a pain, because it's mentally draining and physically draining, and you don't need to. Just don't do what I did. Go on to the intermediate level, do well in the intermediate level, and apply to a university. Most likely they're going to accept you because it is a good qualification.
Can I interject? So with that, you wouldn't, the intermediate level is more for people that want to go into the A levels, not university. You still got to go to advanced for that one. But for the intermediate, if anyone wants to go to A levels to do like any science or anything like that, you should do the intermediate level, because that will make your levels even higher. And when he was doing it, they had like a unit for physics and chemistry in there, but now they've changed it a bit. Even at the general level now, there's certain places you can take at general level too. So I'll update you and let you know about that soon as well. Thank you. But yeah, so Amelia's got something to say about that?
What am I saying? Yeah, so if you're doing either one, like you have to, before you start doing either one, you have to just decide which one works better for you and then commit to it. So for example, if you're halfway through your GCSEs already, I guess with ICC it is a little bit easier to then flip. But if you're already doing your GCSEs, that it's probably better if you just push through it and keep on going. And the same with the ICC. If you're already doing ICC, I definitely don't recommend you switch onto the GCSEs, especially if you want to apply by a certain deadline. So for example, if you're doing GCSEs, or if you plan on going to sixth form or college, you'll have to apply by the time you're 16 years old, 15, 16 years old, and that deadline will make it really stressful for you. Yeah. I think as well as that, it also depends on what school and sixth form or college you're applying to, because I applied to quite a few schools. And one of the schools that I applied to is very very well respected, it's supposed to be a really good school, and I applied there, and then they emailed and said, you didn't do GCSEs, we can't look at your application, we're not going to do anything. Basically, we're not going to do an interview, we're not going to even talk about the qualification in any way. So you'll have to check what grade restrictions are on the schools you plan on applying to. As you probably know if you've seen the other video I did on this, other schools will accept it as well, but if you're very keen on a certain school, just check.
Alright, I'm just going to interject quickly while they're inside Iceland, but basically with my son, it was 4 years ago since he did the ICCE, and the decision that he had to go on to do medical science, or who's trying to get into medical school, it was very late in terms of how he tried to do it. So he tried to fit in too much within a short space of time to try to get back on the train. So there's something called a homeschool train. I'm going to make a video about that. When the video is done, you can just look up here to see the video, but I call it the homeschool train. No, I call it the education train. And I think it's so important to understand that, you know, when we talk about homeschooling, we say things like, oh yeah, don't worry about homeschooling, you can work at your child's own pace and things like that, and that's absolutely true if you have your journey mapped out, you know what it is you want to do. If you have a child who you want them to go on to do sixth form or go on to college, you have to go back onto the education train to make sure that they're ready to sign up the same time as their peers who do go to go to ordinary school. And that's the issue with Enrique. So he was working at his own pace for a little while, but when he decided that he wanted to be a doctor after watching his Doctor Strange movie, he had to move really quickly. So it could have worked out if we had just done the paces and if I had just stuck to my guns and let him just do the paces full stop, it would have worked out really well. But there was a lot of pressure on him from friends that knew him, other homeschoolers that were doing a different curriculum, and people on his dad's side who didn't really fully understand what I was doing in terms of homeschooling. So he was getting a lot of advice from me, who was saying, okay, just trust me, trust in God, trust in our curriculum, trust the process that we've been doing so far. And then people on the other side who were saying, no, that we don't think this is a good curriculum, we've checked online about the curriculum's not a very good one, you know, it's going to be detrimental to your future. So my son at that point was very panicked, saying, Mum, I think I should do the GCSEs because this is what I'm being told by this person. I was trying to get him to be quite strong and ready to be like, to tell people that no, my mum knows what she's doing, my mum's a teacher, she can do all this, correctly. But he was just not strong enough at that point. And I just felt like, as a 16-year-old, I felt like, you know what, he said he wants to do GCSEs. I don't want it to ever come back where he says, like, oh, Mum, it would have worked out better if I had just done GCSEs. So in my mind, I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, it's still their educational journey. He wants to do GCSEs, let me just let him do it and just see what happens. he's done it, and that's where we are now. So I'm still very proud of him. I think he's done really well with what he had, you know, the hand he's been dealt with, and you know how all the challenges that came his way with, you know, COVID and everything else. I think he's learning how to change his mindset now about the situation and kind of like see it for what it is. But his journey was a bit more of a struggle. I think he was very academic, you know, very, very academic. So I think for him, if we had known more, I could have tried to get him into like an independent school, tried to like do more to kind of get him where he needed to be. But like I said, the education train came by, we had to jump on it. We had to jump on it with what we had, and this is where we ended up. So chemistry was a big one, because on the general level, chemistry is not as good. They are changing things now where you can take different paces from the intermediate level and do that at general level as well. I'm still looking at the updates to find out how that works. So once I know a bit more, I can let you know about that as well. But I'm not sure that makes any sense to you, but I thought I'd just interject to let you know, because I said to him, can you do a video? And as he's making a video, I can see that he's still got a lot of the pain in his heart about some of the choices that was made after homeschooling. So he never had a very good journey academically, no, educationally anyway. School was a nightmare for him, and I think going back into the system was also a nightmare for him. So my heart's more that if we had a bit more strength, I could have just carried on with the paces up until advanced level and then gone for university at that point. That was my preferred method, and done other things to consolidate. So if I could go back and do it again, that's what I would do, I think. Yeah.